This weird road is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion advised. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to This Weird Road. This is my man, Ulf Hammerhart.
And right there talking at you is the main man, Boli Thorn.
We have been gone a long time, but we are going to jump right back into it.
Welcome to This Weird Road. Here we go.
All right. Our our current event article this week
I'm pretty excited about it, I have to say.
Yeah. Comes from Newsweek and from their Tech and Science page. It says, Viking burial ships uncovered in a sensational archaeological find. Why is sensational in quotes?
Because I have no idea.
Quotes should not be used to accentuate a word.
It should not. But before we get further into the article,
bold, whatever.
I want to apologize to the people mentioned in this article for the names we're about to butcher.
Because they are from Sweden, and we are most likely going to mutilate their names. All right, so I'm just going to read from the article. I'm going to skip into it a little bit because, there's always...
And I'll comment like a peanut gallery as it goes.
There's always extra fluff in it. But anyway, the short answer is there's recently been another ship found in Sweden, which is apparently uncommon. There's only been, I think they said 10 ships to date.
Found in that area.
Period, that are this style of burial, because the Viking the ship burials were super rare, and they were meant basically for people of really high status. And the last one was found 50 years ago. This is 2 vessels, which Dr. Sailor, which we both found it incredibly funny.
That someone named Sailor found ships found one of the ships. There have been 2 within a span of 2 or 3 months.
No, these were found together.
They were found together.
Yeah.
Okay,
which Sailor describes as sensational.
They were found in Uppsala, by the way.
Yeah, Gamala, Uppsala, which
sounds like a country all by it. Sounds like it should be located somewhere else.
I know you do. So these types of burials where full-size boats were buried were pretty uncommon. We covered that. They found the remains of only one person, a horse and a dog. He was buried with some weapons, a shield, and a comb, which a lot of people don't realize that barbarians, they may have been, but...
Vikings were actually known to be among some of the first to basically the men practiced grooming. We have... The media likes to paint them as savages with unkempt beards and smelly, and it's actually kind of the opposite. They groomed their beards. They were known to perfume their beards and their bodies.
Right. When they
were the first to bathe in that part of the world regularly. Yeah.
Bathe at least once a week.
Yeah.
Whether they needed it or not.
It was Saturday. I'm not sure how we determined that, but I know we determined that was bathing day.
Yeah, but it was common for there to carry basically like a key ring.
Grooming kit.
Yeah, a key ring with an ear spoon, which is so gross. But we use cotton buds for the same thing. So ear spoons, tiny combs, and tiny not razors, but blades meant for
shaving.
Yeah. So,
and I will say, if this boat, it was a full-size ship apparently, and if there was only one person on it, not only were they, had to have been a high stature anyway, but if only one, I'd lay pretty solid money it was a jarl, a king, for them to be buried alone like that. Right. Well, alone-ish. I mean, the only human. There was a horse and dog found with them.
Yeah. So they can't tell exactly when during the Viking Age. So it's somewhere between 793 and 1066 CE. And yes, CE, even though the dang article, which is in their Tech and Science page, says AD.
Which surprised both of us, because AD doesn't really get used anymore. It's been replaced with CE to be more appropriate.
But the
accurate,
that area or that period, that occupation in that area had supposedly occurred during the Vendel period, which was between 500 and 793 CE. In recent months, researchers also discovered another ship associated with the burial practice in the Scandinavian region. Archaeologists here's where it's going to get good. Archaeologists from the Norwegian Institute for Cultural Heritage Research, NICU, N-I-K-U, discovered a 66-foot-long Viking ship using an advanced new ground-penetrating radar technique in Ostfold County, southeastern Norway. The radar data that the NICU team collected indicated that the ship was once embedded within a large burial mound, which was gradually destroyed by farming activity. Over time, surprisingly, the ship appeared to have survived totally intact, despite lying just 20 inches below the topsoil.
Which means they pretty much put this thing in, put a little dirt over him. When he's in there now...
No, well, they said the mound had been destroyed.
Yeah.
What had been under a mound.
Right.
And that has gone away due to farming. And then their doctor there is quoted as saying, "This find is incredibly exciting as we only know 3 well-preserved Viking ship finds in Norway, all excavated a long time ago. Knut Pesch, Knut space Paasche, head of the Department of Digital Archaeology at NICU and an expert on Viking ships, said in a statement." So,
and the reason that I personally am excited about that is just we said there, it's a fully intact Viking ship. There have not been many of those found. Right. I mean, I went to a Viking exhibit in Cincinnati a year and a half ago, and there was a partially intact one, and I was excited about that. Man, a fully intact one, I'd be like a kid at Christmas, and I'm not even a professional archaeologist. So, sorry, I had to mess around a little, folks. I'm just a, at-home archaeologist, like at-home historian, like half of the heathens are, But I can't imagine. I'm excited because I'm hoping they will be able to pull more information out of that.
Right.
They can extrapolate all kinds of things, like give them enough time, they can figure out how old the bones are, how old the ship is, what kind of wood it's made of,
more importantly,
all kinds of stuff like that.
More importantly, and this seems to be something that always makes it into these articles, what his last meal was?
Yeah, I'm
that happens a lot.
I'm not really sure how there's going to be any of his stomach contents left. But
dude, no, it happens.
No,
not embalming. Okay. It happens naturally. If it doesn't digest, the body just encases it, and it's there.
Oh, it just sits there like...
Because it's not... it's not going to be like
petrified, I guess.
Yeah, it's not going to be recognizable, but a biologist can dig into it and be like, oh, this is what it was. I'm going to bet it's fish.
I'm going to bet that's at least part of it, probably, yeah. And
probably disgusting fish.
And probably like some nuts, which sounds dirtier than I mean it. But I mean, pine nuts and things like that were a common part of the diet then.
I did it this time. Dude,
he hit the table, wasn't me.
I read an article about 2 or 3 weeks ago describing there was a process that this group of monks were using that would mummify them while they were alive.
Oh, yeah. I read about that or heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was, you had brought it to my attention.
And basically the diet that they take on when they know they're about to die, or I guess when they want to die, because the diet itself will kill them,
slowly,
essentially causes them to exude a kind of lacquer. Causes them to sort of sweat lacquer.
Yeah, it's it's almost
desiccates their skin because they're not drinking.
Yeah.
They're taking in a lot of like nut
protein.
Yeah, they're taking in a lot of nut protein and stuff like that, but no water. And so they dry out. And
they basically, they die of thirst in part then. That sounds god-awful.
Yeah, well, but they're also poisoning themselves as they do it. So would you want it to last longer?
Fair point. So it sounds kind of like humans that have found a way to become like bugs encased in amber, Find a way to encase themselves, so to speak. That's interesting. But that's a little bit of a digression, but it relates, to that article anyway.
Yeah, because, archaeological finds are always... Fascinating. So,
if you're a nerd, which we are, and which we have so far found most heathens tend to be to some degree, because like we all can call this
mega jocks.
Or yeah. Well, even the ones that are mega jocks, though, if they're really into the path, tend to get somewhat nerdy and librarian-like. That's why we tend to jokingly call ourselves things like, and I say this a lot, like the historian religion or the librarian religion, because if you really want to get into this, librarian. We don't have as much written down stuff. You have to. We don't have. Let Arnold in here. We don't. Our things aren't. We have stuff written down, hence the books and librarian reference. But
most of that comes from Strawson and Grammaticus.
Yeah, and a lot is starting to come from archaeologists and things like we read in there. But that a lot of ours is newer. I think that's one is a lot. We don't have the as much older text on it.
Right.
A lot of ours, because so much was destroyed or not put down because of it being an oral tradition, we're just now refining stuff. So the new is old, the old is new to us, kind of thing.
Yeah. I've had people do the whole snort and push up their glasses at me, and they're like, "Well, that's not actually. You don't know that's how they did it." And I'm like, "Well, look, this is clearly a reconstruction. We're taking what we can, the things that we know, and we, like the Baha'i, we constantly integrate new information or old information, depending on how you want to look at it.
Right.
As we find it, we integrate it. So it keeps us excited. I know that much,
And we're not purists. We don't. If there's a new way, a better way to do the quote unquote old things, I'm using quoted fingers. You guys can't see again.
Yeah, I will.
Then we use that because we're from an industrious people.
Yeah,
if you've got a way that works better, do it.
My robe does not have to be hand stitched. I didn't have to gut the goat that we got the skins from, which they're synthetic.
And the same axe that lays on my altar, I will also use to split wood if I need to. That kind of thing.
Or heads,
preferably.
Yeah. So, really, I don't want there to be a call to violence. But anyway. We got together for our moot last night.
Things were good.
It was July 5th. I don't know when this is going to go up, but hopefully soon.
If any of the folks that were there hear this, thank you for showing up as one of our best turnouts in a while. It was actually our best turnout since we kicked things back off.
Yeah. There were some people obviously that we missed. There was no Liz.
Right. Yeah, we were missing Liz and a couple of regulars. She was the biggest, quote unquote, regular we were missing. Happy late birthday to her, by the way. Liz just had her birthday. So.
Yeah, dude, I got her right after midnight. I was on. You shut up. I was on Facebook and was like, I think it's coming up, and then I went and looked into my upcoming birthdays.
I wish her a happy one, but I figured we'd throw one out on air.
Yeah, happy birthday to everyone we've ever missed forever.
As you guys can tell, we're pretty happy to be back. We're exuberant, and we're staying pretty on topic, which impresses the hell out of me.
Yeah. So anyway, we had our moot. We've gotten a formula basically for our moots,
which is not a bad thing.
Which this has happened because we have formed a kindred of our own. We are the Yggdrasil Grove Kindred.
And we are happy to be that.
Yeah.
We're small, but we're growing slowly.
Yeah. We have our chieftain who's not here with us, which we tried to get here today, but
and he wanted to be
for some reason he wanted to be at his son's first birthday party or something. Why.
That's craziness.
Whatever. The tiny ginger werewolf.
Yes, as I call him. And there's a story that will someday be told on air about that, but for now he's the small ginger werewolf.
Yeah. With his giant ginger daddy.
Indeed. So there's our chieftain, aforementioned. There is...
Which he's asked to just be called that, by the way.
Right.
I find it slightly pretentious. Just call him
but also
chieftain.
A little funny.
Yeah.
No. Then there is our Gothe.
That's me.
Or High Gothe, which is Boli there.
I haven't been high in a long time.
Elevated now.
Yeah, I'm not above anybody. And then our lore master,
which is me,
is Ulf,
and I'm doing. I am taking that very serious. I have realized recently that
he even bought a notebook and learned to read.
Yeah, I learned. I can spell cat without the K now. But seriously, folks, I am
Would
taking
that just be
this seriously. Oh no, we got to get you back into class now. I am trying to take this seriously. I've realized that there were some of the stories I thought I was really schooled in, like I thought I knew well, and I'm going back and realizing I didn't, because I'm going to let out a little secret here. This is actually our second shot at doing this show, because we did not do well the last time, so we disciplined ourselves, went back and both re-researched it.
Man, my like back still stings.
Like I said, we went on air because we were both like, "Oh, we've got this." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm lore master."
We sat and babbled for 48 minutes,
and we don't want to do that to you guys. So,
right,
take two will be better. We fairly much promise.
But what I was getting at is we also have a formula for our moots now.
Right.
We get together. Most of us, the elders, get there early, and our families.
Right.
We tend to get there early and get a meal in us, because talking to us without food is hazardous.
And that way, when everybody else starts to get there, we can go around and do our jobs for hospitality. You know, we can
introduce ourselves and them to each other if there's any strangers, which rarely.
Yeah, and do some of the, hey, how you been, for the ones we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So then once everybody is there and everybody else has at least a plate in front of them, we can get to whatever we're studying and bringing up that particular week, because we do that as well at our moods.
So what we have been doing is we have a list of rules to be a member of the Kindred, which I read at the beginning of every, like after everybody's had food.
Right.
I will read them. I'm not going to do that now, but basically a short list of things that you can be and cannot be and still be part of our Kindred. And then we will discuss, recently it's been a virtue.
Yeah,
now we've done truth, honor, and last night we covered courage.
Yeah. And we do not mean the cowardly dog.
But awesome. Yeah. We're finding that either people don't want to talk about it, or they're finding it much easier to define these things than we do. Because often I will sit and talk for an hour alone about what does courage mean to you.
Yeah, one virtue, and we'll just bat it back and forth.
And then last night, there's 22 people there. And, 22 people there, which they should have given us the special room for. Just saying. But anyway, 22 people there. And we're like, okay, this is the topic. I ran through our list of rules, which I do every time.
And what we hadn't seen is they picked up a large baseball bat and just knocked that sucker out of the park on us.
Yeah, everybody was like, oh, that's simple. It is this and this.
It's this, and it lays out like this. And I tried to get all intellectual on them, and I tried to test them, and man, they schooled me, because I was like, well, courage isn't always on the battlefield. What about non-physical courage? And I got this from several different people. And
Ben's, sometimes it's just waking up every day.
Yeah. And I thought that he was half joking, but I actually found that fairly profound, because for some of us, courage is waking up every day.
When you have chronic pain, depression,
and not staying in bed or not deciding to, go to the big sleep. So.
What? No, wait, that's the big easy.
That's the big easy. Well, that mean it's easier to go to sleep, the big sleep?
Oh, man. If so, I'm going to New Orleans. I don't sleep.
But
Green Warrior, don't sleep goodly.
That's a struggle. We could have a podcast, a complete episode on that. But basically, we have friends in our group, and I know we have listeners out there that know that struggle. And hey, if there are days that's what your courage is, you can get up, open your eyes, get out of bed, and put one in front of the other. Good for you. No shame in that.
Right.
Don't. We all been big on this kind of thing lately. Don't diminish your own fucking struggle, man.
Right. Yeah. We're supposed to not be serious.
Your own fracking struggle.
Right.
I'll go back to the German roots of it.
One of the things that has been disappointing is Facebook shut down our page.
Yeah.
They said for some reason that we're not real people. And
just
I tried to.
We use different names.
Well, no, and I tried to address them and say, look, no, this is for a podcast. This is, an entertainment thing. And they were just
like, did that. They wouldn't have it.
Oh, yeah. They were just like, no.
So we got the complete Zuckerberg.
Yeah. They're like, there is no person named this weird with the last name Road. And I'm like, yeah, doy pacha.
And I have seen weirder, again, quoting fingers, folks, names that Facebook lets pass.
Hell, my Kimmy has a damn what's his name, Frank Zappa song title as her name. And it's like, I'm not going to give it to you all because
but it's weird
because she's adorable and I don't want any creepers going after her. But anyhow, she'll never hear this anyway.
By the way, also a slight apology from me to our viewers, as you probably heard our viewers, listeners, as you probably heard already.
Well, you're viewing it with your ears.
I am fighting the sinuses. I'm clearing my throat a lot today, but we will sully forth and whatnot.
Yeah. I do want to address, because speaking on courage, you and I, this is a courageous thing for us because we've both been through some very drastic loss over the last year and a half.
We've both kind of walked through Muspelheim in our own emotional sort of ways,
Yeah. And we've had 2 recent losses to our family.
Yeah.
One literal family. Lost a cousin.
Yeah. Fairly well to my adorable cousin Liz. She was 50. I'm not going to dwell on it for you folks, but she was 54 in body, but due to some developmental problems, only about a 3-year-old. So she was a child to the family.
Yeah.
So that was a huge hit. And
everybody loved Liz.
And then on top of that, Boli and I both just experienced, and I definitely think this person would appreciate getting a shout out here. A friend of ours that we gamed with and knew for 25 years.
As long as I've known
something.
Yeah, I want to say 25. Chip May
passed on, and I got to say, in his own way, he went out kind of Vikingish. Now, when people say that, you think fighting, right? He went out doing for his family.
Yeah.
He was taking care of his mother's lawn, sat down to rest.
Well, I wasn't going to go into details, but yeah.
And found rest. Well, I thought it would be honoring him to say that personally.
Yeah.
I will double check with the family to make sure it's okay that I said that on air, but I think they'll be all right. Anyway, rest you well, my friend. We'll see you again where the beer never ends.
Oh, I want some beer.
I borrowed from Amon and Marth there, but they borrowed a little from
from that party we had.
Yes.
So we are 22 minutes in and haven't got on top. Well, we've not been off topic. We've just had different small topics.
Yeah, we've tangented without tangenting, and what we've done so far is we covered our current event as we do.
Yeah.
And we went a little on to more current events, which is our moods and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we let them know, we talked to them a little about a virtue, which really anytime we address the virtues on here, whether it's part of the topic for the night or not, is still kind of on topic.
Right.
So yeah, we're good.
So under the pressures of the giant ginger, our chieftain, we are going to basically start covering a piece of lore each time.
Yeah.
And what better place to start than at creation?
And at the beginning.
You think you're clever.
Yeah.
So we did that. We've both studied, took notes.
Most of my notes are in here because I
don't know how to read or write.
Well, there's that, but you're not supposed to tell that on there. No, studying trick I was not a great student in school, so a trick I picked up was to read as much as I could on the subject before sleeping, or attempting sleep as we gotten older, and I retain it better. So I crammed info into my skull bone last night. We'll see how that goes.
Okay, so we start with basically, I like to think about it in sort of scientific terms.
Yeah.
Because it helps bring in, first off, people who might think that everything else is hokey.
Right.
But it starts with the emptiness of space.
Yeah.
And there is cold and there is heat.
Space, the very first frontier, in a way.
So we have the coldness of space represented by Niflheim.
Right.
Which is fog and mist and ice.
Right. Because to them, the cold and the ice were the worst things,
Yeah.
through our culture. So.
And then on the far side of Gunungan Gap is Muspelheim, which is a home of fire.
Yeah, I agree with the home on it.
Well, an individual at least lives there, so it is home.
Yeah.
Which is Surtur, the proto-fire giant.
Yeah, we'll get to him a little bit more too.
Well, at the end, really.
Well, I mean, a little bit more in this story, and actually a couple more times in some of the other stories.
No, really, just kind
I
Ragnarok.
guess, yeah, I was thinking about that.
Sort of the beginning and the end.
He's a bookend. He's his own bookend. I never thought about that. Sorry, folks.
Your face is a bookend. All right.
Sometimes.
So, so we have them, and there's also Verdalmir. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but basically the source of waters.
No, Verdalmir is how I say it. How I said it too when I was
G in it. Virgil.
Oh yeah, Verdalmir. Yeah.
So, which is the source of all waters?
Yeah, it's
before women. Well,
the source of all rivers in the universe is how
the source. Yeah.
Of
fresh waters.
Yeah.
Because Wimmer's blood becomes the seas. So the salty waters.
He was a salty fucker, apparently. Sucker. Old sucker. I got it. That's going to take some.
Clearly going to be a problem for us.
For me, especially, we both have mouths on us, but I've usually got the worst one.
I'm sure you've noticed, like, you just pull my string and I go, and I have been stammering quite a bit because I've been holding off
the bad words.
I've not been saying the naughty words.
We're going to see how that goes. I make no promises, folks, except the promise to try.
Okay. Well, and from this, basically, the two pour into Gunungan Gap, into the emptiness, until they touch and build on one another.
And from that building and that steam,
the fire melts the ice, and it refreezes and back and forth,
and basically like forms Ymir layer by layer.
I always say Wimir.
I've heard the Y pronounced as a Y and as an I. Yeah. So it really depends on who's saying it, how you're comfortable with it. A lot of the stuff in our stories, our deities, our places, etc., have multiple ways they can be said.
Right.
So however you're comfortable with it, but Ymir or Wimir was basically formed a layer at a time, which I think again is them, early scientific basis kind of thing with them. Yeah, describing how things were formed and built. They had a bit of a grasp on that.
It didn't happen all at once.
Right. It wasn't a poof, there he was.
Poof, what do you need? Oh,
great. Now I picture a big blue Ymir with Robin Williams' voice. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, so...
they do say he's the proto-frost giant, so blue works.
Yeah. Yeah, not the proto-giant, actually, because the proto, there were... Normally, mostly in our stories, two types of giants, frost and fire. And the proto-fire...
Since Surtur existed before anything else.
Yeah, and I found that interesting, too. I hadn't thought about that before, how he's not only bookending the stories, but he's both part of creation, because as we get a little more into this in a minute, he's got another part here in the creation of stuff. And then, of course, he's one of the main forces for destruction when Ragnarok comes.
Yes.
So, I hadn't really grasped onto that until we were doing all this.
I consider it
again. I don't know how
as a representation of fire as being the spark of life, and therefore existing before everything else.
Yeah. Because, again, one of the things, I don't care what culture's creation myth you're looking at, fire comes in early for everybody because it has to. It very quickly was grasped onto, I guess, that, hey, without fire, we're effed.
There's still a small tribe of people who've yet to discover fire. They are untouched by humanity. But the rest of humanity, I don't want to say that they're not human.
But... untouched by modernization.
Yeah,
way not modernization. I'd be curious how they survive without fire. But
raw food.
In the interest of not digressing, I'm going to pull myself back over onto topic.
Right. So during that, Wimmer forms.
Right.
There's the
wakes up. Hey, how you doing?
Well, it's still sort of implied that basically he remains asleep.
For a bit, at least. Yeah. Again, that differs a little depending on what where you get the story from.
And from the rind, we have also Odmilla the cow.
That's the name I was getting because we forgot it last time. Odmilla, as we like to call her, proto-cow. I didn't.
And she fed Wimmer.
And by the way, our people apparently liked their gods and deities and figures big because she was big enough to span Gunungan Gap.
Correct.
She was a gigantic, huge, humongous proto-cow. And 4 rivers flowed from her swollen udders.
Yeah.
That is some serious udder business.
Which Wimmer drank from.
And nourished and became strong. See, even the Vikings knew milk does a body good, y'all.
Just ask Thorn.
Right.
All right, so she suckled me like a baby.
He made that story up on the spot.
Really?
Yes.
That's hilarious. Shut up.
More on that later. Oh, daddy. All right, so he suckled at her udders and became a nice, big, strong giant. In the stories that do have him waking up, because like you said, some of them he sleeps through all those.
Yeah.
In the stories that have him waking up, that's when he begins to wake. He's drank enough from the rivers of her udders, basically, that he's like, oh, he stretches and wakes up, and things get kind of kick-started.
Well, and like from the sweat of his neck and his armpits and his feet.
From the sweat of his armpits came, I'm guessing one per armpit, but I'm not sure, came 2 children. And then,
but only one of them's named the giant Thurgrimir.
Oh no, wait a minute. Let me go to my source because I've actually got names for both of them. Woohoo! Look at me being all on top of like some intelligent stuff.
Yeah, but it's bad radio.
You hush. I mean, you're not wrong, but hush. Anyway, I'm not gonna worry about that. Anyway,
but yes, 2
from each of them,
Thurgrimir and then his wife.
Yeah,
and a lot of it is
they sprung from his armpit sweat. Ew, and then
Thurgrimir came from his feet.
Well, okay, because in the stuff I read, there were 3 proto giants. There were one sprang from the armpit sweat, 2 sprang from the armpit sweat. I assume one from each armpit, and then his legs mated. Y'all, wrap your brains around that. His legs effed themselves or each other. And from that came a 3rd child. And these 3, one of whom was 6-headed.
And described as the evil.
Yeah, name, I think his name means the evil one or the first evil or something like that. Right. Again, I'm not going to go to the direct translation right now for you guys. But if you're curious, hey, get a hold of it. We'll get that for you. Also, Google it or read a book. I'm trying to get people to call in and challenge us, or text in and things.
So, Odmilla is licking the rimy ice, and
from those 3 children, they are from the 3 of them is where the first. They say that they keep using the term the first frost giants because technically the first frost giant is Ymir. The big guy, Ymir. I'm stumbling over my own stuff, and then when he gets offed here in a little bit, those 3 go off and create.
No, those 3 died.
Yeah, that's right. They 3, and then there's one that. Yeah, I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
He has.
So the cow licks at the frost.
Yeah. He has 2. Basically, 2 of his children survive.
Right.
They float away in a boat to start Jotunheim.
Right.
But
giant home. I'm going to translate for some over here, some other terms.
So then she licks away ice to reveal. It takes her 3 days basically to reveal the first god, who is Boli.
The 3 days go: 1 day hair, next day head, 3rd day everything else. Yeah. Like, wow, I don't know. She got really earnest on that 3rd day.
She was like, maybe she got curious. She's like, wait a minute, there's something in there.
I'll see what it is. Yeah. And out steps the
Boli, the first god, who becomes the grandfather of Odin.
Yep.
All right.
Father of Bor.
He has. There's no mention of a female, but he has a son named Bor.
He somehow just there's Bor at some point.
Yeah.
B-O-R. Since it sounds like the animal.
For then there is combat between them and the giants, but it basically states that every day they come to a standstill. Right. So basically,
Giants are basically personified in the stories, again, in every version of it,
as entropy.
They are the evil, the gods are the good.
Well, and see,
they are entropy. They're chaos gods are order, I guess. Well,
that's a moralistic way to put it.
Yeah,
I was going with the scientific route and saying that the giants represent entropy, and the gods represent creation and growth. So there would be no one without the other, but essentially, until more life happens and until there's something taking the reins of that life, it would be that entropy, that they would end up in a standstill.
You're not wrong, yeah. But that's one of the reasons that there are two of us who are doing this, because different points of view. Because neither one of those are wrong, to look at it from a moral standpoint or from scientific.
We should look at it from as many lenses as you can.
As you can, absolutely.
Critical thinking,
life like a shiny diamond, all the facets.
Critical thinking just is not taught in school anymore.
Boy, is that starting to show.
Yeah. But, you should observe everything from as many lenses as you can if it's something that you need to really study.
Yeah, if you really want to know about a thing, don't come at it from one point of view, because most things have, as you said, different angles. If you only come at it from one, you're cheating yourself.
And if you have Peyronie's disease, you only get the one angle.
Oh, and for those who don't know what that is, Google it. So, I'm trying to get us back on track. So once, here they are.
Yeah. So once Boar is there, and they, like I said, they struggle every day, and they keep ending in the same place.
Yeah.
This goes on basically until Boar marries one of the giants named Besla.
Yes.
Then the two of them have the three sons that we all know as the beginning of the Aesir. Odin, Vili, and Ve.
I feel bad for Vili and Ve, as we've discussed privately before on the air, because
this is basically the last you hear about it, after the creation of man.
Yeah, they're like the daughter. They're like the third daughter on.
In a Tiny Home.
Oh, buddy, I was going to say on the show with Urkel from the '80s.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say Full House. Family Matters. Like the third daughter from Family Matters, she just goes upstairs the end of one season and never comes back, and they just never talk about her. That's pretty much Vili and Ve. They're like, hey, they were here for the creation. Hey, they helped with humans. Done. Like they just, I don't know, they chill out.
Was it really a loss? I mean, if it took the end of the show for people to go, hey, well, I mean, it is for us. Yeah. But I mean, of that kid.
Yeah.
It's not really a detriment to the show if no one noticed she was gone.
Right, but I'm sure some people did. But I mean, I just thought it was an interesting pop culture analogy, because that's what happened. They're just, because, we've searched, or I did, and I believe you did, through other stories, and there's no other mention. Now,
there is a name occasionally, but no real action.
No real actions, yeah. And we'll get said on this show a bazillion more times, being an oral tradition, we've lost a lot. Get out there, buddy. We lost a lot. So we're, as we said at the beginning, we're rediscovering some of it through archaeology all the time. So maybe someday we'll find stories that we've currently lost that have those two characters in it. But for now, they're one and dones, the poor guys, more or less, anyway.
Basically, at this point, the birth of those three tipped the balance towards creation.
And things started in earnest.
Yeah.
Another kind of weird point here is the three brothers now slay Ymir.
Yes.
And the weird point for me on that is that it's never said why. Like what he does that they need to slay him.
Well,
why they commit patricide. At least I've not found anything that mentions why.
The way I see it is, first off,
there
would be no creation. No, like the realms as we know them wouldn't exist without that death.
Correct.
But he bred giants faster than they bred gods. So you had to get rid of that source in a tactical sense. You had to get rid of that source,
And that could be right, yeah.
or they would have been overwhelmed.
And again, to put it back on the scientific and moral balance of it, from death comes life, from devastation comes creation.
Yeah.
That's that being illustrated all over the place.
It's very Kali Ma of you.
Thank you. But I mean, again, lots of other cultures have that in their creation myths too. But
Right.
ours is one of the few that I personally have read anyway that doesn't really say why this person is slain to begin using their parts for creation, just that they are. And boy, they used everything for everything. It was in all parts of the buffalo situation here.
Right. They used everything, including the squeal.
Slaughterhouse worker reference for you, for folks out there?
So we have all of that. The death of Wimmer created a flood.
Also something just real quick that we missed back up. His sweat drops became the dwarves.
That's not what they came from, or at least what I've read.
Mm-hmm.
They came from after the creation of Midgard. They came from the earth. So from his skin.
Okay, well,
and
no, I
his
read one that
bones.
says so. Still to say, they still came from Ymir in some way.
I found it a little chuckle-worthy in that most of us were introduced to this sort of thing through Tolkien.
Yeah.
And the dwarves, they were from the earth and they were from the mountains.
Right.
And that's just how. And basically, in my most recent reading, which you and I have been having some beef with anyway, because we're reading the same. We're coming from the same source.
One of the same texts. Yeah.
Which is a book series called Epic Tales, and then they do different sorts of mythologies and whatnot.
This one, of course, is called
Norse myths and tales. Whomever compiled this has Veli and Ve just transforming at the creation of man, or before the creation of man, into Honir and Loki. And I'm like, no, those are different people with different traits. And
that come from different places.
Yeah.
As the stories tell it further down the line. We'll get to that in this series as well.
So anyway.
Yeah, we both take issue with that, but that's just a personal beef.
Wimmer's blood floods the plains as we know it.
Blood everywhere.
And that killed all the giants except for two, which were...
Notes. He has them.
Yeah. I swear I did. I had this stuff. Bergelmir, sorry, and his wife.
Yeah.
They floated away.
For some reason. A lot of times you get end wife, unfortunately.
Well,
sorry, ladies.
Well, see,
it's not
one of the things that one of the things that I sort of pieced together was that Loki is a giant. His mother's name is given, but his father's name is not. And in this, Bergelmir is named.
So it is very possible that
his mother is
the unnamed father.
Right.
And the mother's name we get later is the unnamed mother here. Solid point, my man. Yeah. All right. There you go. Discovery on air for me, because I hadn't thought of that.
I just did. So, his blood becomes the oceans. His flesh becomes the earth. His bones are...
his teeth and broken bones that were exposed become rocks and crags.
Yeah, and his other bones become... like his solid bones become mountains.
His brains are thrown up in the... Well, yeah, his skull...
Yeah, his skull is used as the sky.
That his brains are tossed up there separately instead of just putting up there in the skull as the clouds.
They had to divide them up a little bit. You don't want just one big clump of cloud.
That's fair.
Duh.
So Thor basically rides among his brains. Got it.
Hey, we all do eventually. Anyway, then four dwarves, which are... I've got their names here too.
Yeah, what that part is.
Are Nordri, Sudri,
South,
Austri,
East,
and Westri.
West. And
wait, where did you pull that from, sir?
And again, I don't know how accurate it is, but the translation that I get that we're using, that got those from specifically, says that Northeast, West, and South are named for them, like in honor of them. Not that their names already meant that, but that which it's usually reversed. So I thought that was kind of interesting there too.
well, that many people don't even acknowledge that the days of the week are named for
Mostly for
Norse
our gods,
deities. So
you got those four guys.
You got those.
Up the corners.
Then we have Arvakir and Als. I can't even read my own writing. But anyway, the two horses that pull the sun.
Right.
And then there is Prim Faxi, or Foxy, who pulls the moon. You have Manny, who rides the horse, who rides in the chariot.
Not tethered enough. They needed people to guide them. So then in come Manny,
Manny for the moon, and Sol for the sun. In opposition to most creation myths,
right.
In this
done the other direction.
Yeah, in this, the male is the moon,
and the female is the sun. Yeah, whereas in most cultures, the sun is masculine, the moon is feminine. We being, the Norse like to do things differently. We flip that on its head a bit.
During all of this creation, there's also the creation of the goddess Jord, who is
the Earth Mother. Yeah.
Who
goes on to be Thor's mother.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was getting to. Many people whose only exposure is the movies think that Frigga is
indeed
Thor's mother.
Thor's mother. She is not.
She is not. All right. So
it is basically our version of Gaia.
Yeah, we have
also Not is formed at this time. The goddess of night. N-O-T-T. That's her name.
So we have, that's basically our cosmological events there.
Right.
And we have his hair creating the trees.
Right. The trees and bushes were his hair.
Brow creates the wall around Midgard, which how big was dude's head?
Right. Well, I mean, his head is the sky, so apparently giant freaking enormous.
But
giant enormous.
Here is the, again, to interject a bit of the science,
sure.
Our habitable zone, the place where humans can live around the sun, is bordered by a meteor belt of rock.
It makes you wonder how the Vikings figured this stuff out. How did such early people figure this stuff out? It's really kind of fascinating to dwell on.
Or I could just be making correlations that aren't really there.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but
I'm willing to accept that.
That's an awful large coincidence, man.
As someone who likes to think he's scientific.
Likes to think he knows everything?
No, that's what I'm saying. As someone who is accepting of that, I don't know.
Right.
I'm saying I don't know.
But it's a fascinating thing to my point is, it's a fascinating thing to ponder on.
So we got teeth, there's the stones.
Was there something between his brow or the mid part of his brow?
No, you're thinking of the eagle at the tree.
So his brows were the wall that basically protected the people's
yes.
Circle of hair.
You're a circle of hair. And the sun and moon, which are pulled, this is another part where Wemir comes in, are sparks from his sword.
You mean where Surtur comes in? Yeah.
What did I say? Surtur, sorry.
Yeah, the sun and moon were the brightest sparks from Surtur's sword, and the stars were some of the other sparks that got scattered up there. Yeah. Told you we'd come back to him in this one.
Right, so that is what those horses are pulling.
Right.
With their chariots. And, they're pulling those sparks
and
around.
They're being chased by Skull and Haiti, right?
Correct. Which translates to repulsor or repulsion.
Right.
And hatred.
Yeah. Thus, to again go back to the moral, as you can see, he's mostly the science side, I'm mostly the moral side, is basically, if you look at it, as them personifying the battle of good and evil that can never end.
Right.
Always chasing each other. Always.
Until it does.
Well, yeah, until we get to Ragnarok, but we're not there yet. In many ways. So, there you go. You got all that happening.
We have really walked right through this.
We've done our thing, man.
Holy crap.
When we focus, it's amazing.
We should snort Adderall more often. I'm joking. Don't do that. It's bad for you.
Drugs are bad. Okay, we are not advocating.
Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Okay.
Jeebus, did we reach the end already?
No, well, we're up to the creation of man.
Yeah.
Which one of the interesting things.
That's my sound effect for us staring at a paranormal illusion.
One of the interesting things one of the interesting visuals, I guess I'll say, that I conjured, because in this version that we've read, it says that Honir and Loki spot the wood on a beach that becomes Ask and Embla.
Right.
And they use their shadows to give them limbs, like they make shadow puppets of the bodies.
Over top of them so they've got the right shape.
And it says that basically Loki got all janky with it, and or jiggy, whatever, and basically made woman a little too frisky. That's how I took it. But I just saw him doing this dance.
Little dance.
Yeah.
I can see him dancing around the bring light. Absolutely. That's the kind of guy he is.
And each of them gives them a gift. Odin breathes life into them.
Right.
Honir gives them the gift of speech.
Because that's important.
And Loki gave them their senses and understanding. Basically, the ability to reason.
Right.
So...
So Loki, do you mean Raleigh?
No, it's Loki.
Okay.
It's Odin, Honir, and Loki who created man. But it was
I'm backed up a little
a piece of ash who became Ask, the first male, and Embla, who came from a piece of elm, who became the first woman.
We're very simple, literal people. Don't mess around really with the name.
Right. And then sometime later, someone robbed all that and changed it into Adam and Eve. And yeah, whatever. 6 of one, half a dozen other. All right, we've got like 8 minutes now. We can just pudge around.
Well, I mean, we do have some plugs and stuff to do, right? A few.
One of them I'm still not sure if I'll be doing.
That's fair. But we've already plugged the mood, so I'm not going to... We need the details.
I will give the information on that.
So anybody who, during the first Friday of the month, if you find yourself in or near the Louisville, Kentucky area, please come on down and introduce yourself with us, talk with us, give us a new perspective on things. You can find us on the first Friday of the month at...
5316 Bardstown Road, Louisville, Kentucky, 40219. It is the Hibachi Sushi Buffet. The elders get there around 6:30. Usually everyone else gets there between 6:30 and 7.
And like I say, if you're not punctual, if work or life keeps you and you can't get there till 7:30 or 8, come in when you can, man. Come in when you can.
We'll be happy to see you.
Absolutely. You'll be welcomed. What else do we have to plug? I guess I'll do my thing.
Sure, go for it.
I will do this as quick as I can so as not to bore folks. I am part of an organization called Up to Snuff Military Companions. We help active and veteran military families that are down on their luck or in need in some way. We have a clothing closet, a food pantry. Hey, I didn't call it a food closet and a clothing pantry that time. We also have...
Which, by the way, it's hilarious when he does.
We are also, especially when I do it in a professional capacity, I can't stop. We also have foster homes for the active duty folks who have pets. They can foster them with our people and not worry about their safety while they're out fighting to procure our safety and freedom. We are also working on getting with folks to be able to provide therapy, both emotional therapy and physical support animals for the vets who come back and need it for PTSD, physical injuries, what have you. And if there's any other need that vets or active duty military families need, they can contact us. I'm not going to give my number and stuff on air at the moment because I use my personal number right now, as do the other people involved. But there are ways they can contact us, and we will help in any way we can. We are actually in the process of, for example, of helping some veterans who were dehomed during the hurricane in Florida at the beginning of this year.
The hurricane, because there's only been the one.
A bad one I can't remember the name of. Okay. Harvey, I think.
I was going to say, interesting fact. The hurricanes with female names tend to be more deadly.
Good to know. I said another. But there you go. We're caught up to snuff, and we're here to help.
Okay. This isn't terribly soon, but on September 7th, Louisville celebrates Pagan Pride, which will be on the waterfront, at the Waterfront Park in Louisville, Kentucky, in downtown Louisville. We will have 2 booths there. We will have an information or community booth.
To tell you about,
Us.
our kindred, and any questions the general public might have about heathenry as a whole and us true as a whole.
Right. We will also be collecting empty pill bottles.
Right.
Empty pill bottles so that they can be used to transport goods through bad weather and stuff like that into and it's into South America.
Yes. Mostly. And to people.
But basically to people who need medication.
For other medications.
Yeah.
For people who
So
really
if you choose to do this, strip away all your information.
Right.
And bring them in preferably cleaned. But we'll be cleaning them in afterward.
Yeah, we'll clean them.
But we're going to have a bin there to collect those. Okay. Thank you, Ivor, for that suggestion.
Yes.
So we will have a bin there to collect those, and we will also have for lack of a better term, a merch booth. I'll be selling at a very low price handmade runes and bags you buy the runes, you get a bag.
Yeah.
I have some altar pieces that are all rune related.
Right.
So, come take a look at us.
Also, I'm hoping to have
throw
stage
food at
there,
us.
but I don't know yet. Chieftain is going to be making some stuff. And he had talked about it.
So succinct.
There's going to be, and the 12-year-old in me jumps right out on this one, stress balls made by the wonderful author Michelle Lee. And who knows what other goodies. So come on out, get to know us.
We've also
support us.
Everyone is pretty much in agreement that she will be taking an elder position as soon as we have another one.
Yeah.
Well, no, we have one that will fit her, but and this may be something other kindreds may want to do.
Yeah.
We are keeping our elder numbers uneven, so that way there's never a tie.
Right,
Yeah. So basically, while there's the 3 of us, Michelle is helping out with many things. We're waiting basically till we have a 5th person to.
Her being basically a crafting octopus is being quite beneficial to us right now.
Right, but that's not going to be the role she's taking.
No, I'm just saying that
she will not be craftopus.
That's thinking. I'm getting out of the
Yep.
Hey, thanks for listening to us ramble for an hour and change, folks.
Oh, no, that wasn't a ramble. We were succinct.
We were, sure. But
for us.
Right. I would like to say to our listeners, or listener probably, who's out there, welcome in to any new ones, and thank you. We love you, especially to the new and the old. Thank you very much, and we love you to the ones coming back.
Your patience is definitely a virtue.
Oh, yes.
So, say your thing.
May the gods grant you wisdom, laughter, and strength, my friends.
And may you keep your wits as sharp as your swords.
Love you.
Night, space lady.